Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new around here, my name is Becca. I am a registered dietitian and I share lots of health, wellness, nutrition, lifestyle, intuitive eating content here on my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my favorite go-to trusty snacks. So I am definitely someone who likes to snack in between meals. Not necessarily in between every meal or every day. It all just kind of depends on the day because I really do like to listen to my body. But I am definitely a fan of having snacks available or on hand that if I'm hungry and it's not really time for a meal yet, then I will just grab a snack. If you guys watch my what I eat in a day videos, a lot of these you will have already seen before. Basically, I do not get fancy at all when it comes to snacks. I really do stick to the basics. I feel like I'm that way with most food in general. I just like to keep it as easy and basic as possible. But when it comes to snacks, even though I like to just keep it simple and stick to the basics, I do always try and make sure that I have a mix of carbohydrates, protein, and fat, or just protein and fat. If you're not super familiar with carbs, protein, and fat, those are macronutrients, and I will kind of touch on why I like to get a good mix of them every single time I eat. But I've actually done a whole video. It was actually the very first video in my Nutrition 101 series on macronutrients. So I talk all about carbs, protein, and fat, what they are, what kind of foods they're in, basically everything you need to know about them. So I will link that video up in the card so you guys can go check that out if you haven't seen it yet or are unsure. But there are two main reasons that I really like to kind of follow this template or just like rule of thumb whenever I'm eating, and obviously that would apply to snacks as well. And the first one is because it's just much more filling. For example, if you have something that's just really carb rich, like if you just grab like a granola bar that's mainly just like carbs and sugar and doesn't have much protein, fiber, or fat in it, it's not going to stick around very long. It's not going to keep you full for a long time, and it actually can mess with your blood sugar. Maybe not mess with it, but it's not going to be the most favorable for blood sugar. And that is my second point. Every time you eat, if you've got a mix of carbohydrates, protein, and fat, or just protein and fat, it is either not going to affect your blood sugar as much or not really going to affect your blood sugar at all. And we really want to have steady blood sugar throughout the day because that is what keeps us feeling not only fueled and satisfied and not like craving lots of stuff, but also it just keeps our energy levels up. And it's really important for overall health to just kind of be conscious of blood sugar. I talk about blood sugar a lot here on my channel. I've talked about it in many videos, but I've also actually done a Nutrition 101 video all about blood sugar as well, so you guys can go check that out if you want to see what more I'm talking about when I'm referring to keeping it steady and why it's important and having the right mix of foods to make sure it's favorable for blood sugar. So the very first snack I want to mention that is a staple go-to of mine, that is just some good old yogurt. So Siggi's is my favorite brand of yogurt. Typically I go for the vanilla, that's just what I like, but they have so many different flavors. They tend to have less sugar than all other fruit flavored yogurt, and I really like Siggi's because the milk is from grass-fed cows, which is something that's pretty important to me. Usually I don't eat it just plain. I will usually top it with some granola, and there are so many different granola options out there, but I do have a couple favorites. The first one that you guys have been seeing a lot in my videos recently is this one, and it is actually, I get it from Young Living. It's their einkorn granola, and it's just like my favorite granola. It's just the right amount of like clustery, it's just clustery, but it's not too high in sugar, and it's got so much stuff going on in there, and I just really like it. It's also einkorn, which is such a good, like, super unrefined grain. And then another one I also just wanted to mention because I really like theirs too is Jessica's Natural Food. She has a bunch of different granolas. My favorite is like the cherry one, and I like that on the vanilla yogurt. It's so good. So I will usually just throw a little bit of granola right on top of this yogurt container and eat it that way. It's got tons of protein and fat and then carbohydrates from the granola, so it's got a really great mix. Also, sometimes if I'm feeling a little fancy, I will throw the yogurt in a bowl, and I will do the granola, but also with some fresh fruit. Like, I love strawberries, and then sometimes I'll even add some almond butter. That's if I really want to like step it up a notch and I'm definitely really hungry, and that is so delicious. And then one more thing I wanted to mention along with yogurt is I actually really love drinkable yogurt. So this is, again, from the Siggi's brand. There's a lot of really good drinkable yogurts out there that aren't super high in sugar and are also from grass-fed cows. And this is so great for literally quickest, like, on-the-go way to fuel. Like, it's literally the fastest thing ever. You just grab it, crack it open, and you can drink it, and it's super easy, and it's very, very filling and very tasty. Okay, so then my next snack is an absolute classic, as basic as it gets, and that is actually just cheese and crackers. So I love this snack because it's salty, and a lot of times healthy snacks tend to be on the sweet side. So it's just a really good salty snack, but also you're gonna get fat and protein from the cheese, and then obviously carbohydrates from the crackers. So again, we've got that balance. It's gonna keep us pretty full and also not going to like wreak havoc on our blood sugar. So I've got a couple things here that I wanted to share. So these have been my favorite crackers for a while now. I've repurchased these like a million times. I really like them. They're the Back to Nature, just stone ground wheat crackers. So when I'm looking for crackers, I just try and look for ones that have simple, basic ingredients. That's the main thing that I look for. And not like, you don't really necessarily want like the processed ones. But also when it comes to cheese, so these I actually just picked up from Whole Foods. They're just their mild cheddar cheese sticks. But these are not my favorite. My favorite, and if you've seen my videos or my What I Eat in a Day, you already know, but I love the Organic Valley. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the brand. I love their cheese sticks. I really just like that whole brand because everything, again, is from, all the milk is from grass-fed cows, which is something that I really look for. So those are my favorite, and that's typically what I always buy, but I was just at Whole Foods, I needed cheese sticks, so I picked up these. Next up is another classic. I feel like this is such a popular thing, but it is so delicious and so filling, and that is good old avocado toast. So avocado toast is super, super filling because avocados themselves are pretty much just straight fat, so they are extremely satisfying and satiating, and they keep us full for a long time. So when you're just adding some avocado right onto toast, especially if the bread that you're using has a lot of fiber, that is just going to up the fullness factor, if you will. So this snack is a little bit of an exception to my template because it doesn't really contain protein. Bread might have like a little bit of protein, but there isn't necessarily like a protein source involved in this snack. But that's okay. Again, it's just kind of a guideline and something I like to think about. But again, since we have so much fat from the avocado mixed with the bread or toast, which is carbohydrates, again, it's still going to be, you know, favorable for blood sugar because that fat is really going to help the slow down the digestion of those carbs into sugar, which would then go on into our bloodstream. So it's still, it doesn't technically have protein in it, but it is still a blood sugar friendly snack that is going to keep us super full. So when it comes to making avocado toast, you obviously need some avocado, and then you obviously need some bread. So I usually always like to get bread from the bakery section at grocery stores. I shop at Wegmans, Whole Foods, sometimes Giant. Not really so much, I don't really get bread from Trader Joe's, but I do shop there sometimes. But basically the reason I do this is because not always, you still have to like look at the ingredients, but most of the breads that you're gonna find there are freshly baked and typically just have regular bread ingredients. If you're buying the bread that's in the grocery store aisle, you know, there's like a million of them, they're gonna be way more processed. You'll see that there's like a huge paragraph of ingredients to make them stay fresh for a really long time, and also they just stay really soft and pliable when bread actually tends to get stale pretty quickly when it's made the right way and not necessarily the overly processed way. So that's just my tip for bread. This is just a half sourdough loaf. That's what I like this. I also really like there's like a whole wheat flax bread from Whole Foods. That's one of my favorites too. And then I feel like I had to mention this. This is from Trader Joe's. It's the Everything But the Bagel seasoning, and it is so good on avocado toast. It's so good on so many things. Like you could literally put this on anything and it would be delicious, but I love, love, love it for avocado toast. And it's just really nice because you can make it in like 2 seconds. You just toast the bread, throw on the avocado. I don't even mash it up. Like I don't even spend time doing that. I literally just like cut it up, put the chunks of avocado on my bread, and sprinkle it with this, which takes 2 seconds, and it's got so much going on in there. It even has a little bit of salt, so it just tastes amazing, and it takes about 2 seconds to put together. Love it. My next snack is another classic, and that is good old trail mix. So I love trail mix, but I definitely go through seasons where I just like don't care about it at all. I have no desire to eat it, and then other seasons where I am just like all about trail mix and I just want to eat it all the time. So when it comes to trail mix, you can make it yourself, which is awesome. You can buy the ingredients in bulk ahead of time, like the dried fruit and nuts and all of that, and you can make it yourself for super cheap. So that is definitely a really awesome way to go. But then of course you can buy it already pre-made as well. So trail mix is great because it has obviously fruits and nuts for the most part. There'll be a variety of each of those things. And nuts are full of protein and fat. And then also we're getting carbohydrates as well as fiber from the dried fruit. So a very well-balanced, well-rounded snack. Again, going to make us super full and also not make our blood sugar go crazy. So I do have one here. This is super random. This is actually from Target. I rarely buy trail mix from Target because Trader Joe's is my favorite place to buy it pre-made. But then if not, I'll just make it myself and I'll go to Costco and I'll buy all the stuff in bulk. That is the best way to do it. And once this baby gets here that's currently in my belly and I'm going to be breastfeeding and super hungry, I'm planning on making like huge batches of trail mix, because I hear that's an awesome snack to have on hand when you're starving and breastfeeding. But anyway, so this is super random that I have this. I don't even remember when I got this, but it's a mix of nuts and seeds. It's got dried, what is it? Cranberries, I think, in there, and then also chocolate chips. I love a little chocolate in my trail mix, I'm not gonna lie. Get some like dark chocolate chips and throw that in there. Oh my god, it's so good. And of course that does up the sugar factor a little bit, but it's so delicious and I just love that. So that's what I have, but also does add some antioxidants as well. Now my next snack is a very obvious and definitely a classic, and that is just bars. So I don't eat a whole lot of bars nowadays. I work from home, so I have access to my kitchen, so I can usually just like whip up a snack really quick. However, when I was working like, you know, a normal 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job, I had a bar like every single day. And in college, I had one every single day. I mean, they're just so easy to throw in your bag, and there are some really good options out there nowadays for ones that are pretty whole food based and that are going to be really filling and just filled with lots of ingredients. Now, I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video, for example, if you grab a granola bar, it's just going to be high in carbs and sugar and isn't going to keep you super satisfied. So not all bars are created equal. Again, you're really going to want to kind of pay attention. You don't have to be crazy about it, but just be conscious and mindful of the amount of protein and fat that's in there. Try and get something that has a good mix versus something that's really just high in carbohydrates, and that's about it. Because again, we want to have, we want to actually be full off of that, and we don't want it to just spike our blood sugar and then have it dip like an hour later, and that's just going to make us crave more carbs even though we don't necessarily need them. Our body's just afraid and thinks our blood sugar's low and therefore wants us to consume more carbohydrates. So I have a few different bars here that I want to share with you guys that are some of my favorites. Again, there are so many out there nowadays that are really great, but these are just some of my personal favorites. So the first one is Perfect Bars. Oh, these are so good. It's like eating a block of peanut butter and it's just absolutely delicious. This is my favorite flavor. It's the dark chocolate and peanut butter. It basically is like the peanut butter bar with dark chocolate chips in it, and it is amazing. It almost kind of tastes like a chocolate chip peanut butter cookie. Oh, they're so good. These are pricey though, so I don't buy them that often. However, I do like to treat myself every now and again. So these are delicious. They are also pretty filling sometimes, depending on the day and the time and how hungry I am. I may only have half and then throw the other half in the fridge for another day. Sometimes I eat the whole thing in one sitting because I'm just that hungry. But these are definitely pretty hefty as far as bars go. And they have a lot of protein, a lot of fat. They do have a decent amount of carbohydrates as well. But again, we've got lots of protein and fat in there too, so it kind of balances it out. So that's a good option that I love. Another one I love is Lar Bars. These are ones that I have been a fan of for so many years because their ingredients are amazing. So this is the peanut butter cookie bar, which the ingredients, you guys, are literally dates, peanuts, and sea salt. That's it. That's pretty amazing. It is just so rare for a packaged food to have that few of ingredients and also that like simple of ingredients nowadays. So these are an awesome find. They come in a million different flavors, so you can try a bunch out and see what you like. The only like tiny downside to these bars is they don't have a ton of protein. It's just whatever protein pretty much comes from the nuts. So they're not going to be super filling, but sometimes you don't really need something that's super filling. Sometimes you just need a little something. And again, these for a packaged food that you can grab on the go, ingredient wise, they are amazing, and they also just taste really good. Another favorite of mine is Square Bars. So the original Square Bars are more like a chocolate coated protein bar, but then somewhat recently they came out with these like crisp bars, and these are actually the ones that I like better. I like both, but these are the ones that I grab for more often at least. So they're kind of like kind of like the texture of a Rice Krispie treat, but a little more dense, and they are very high in protein. Again, the ingredients are pretty good. They are organic, and I just like the flavors. I just really like them. This one is toasted coconut. They just taste really good. They are very light, but they also are very filling as well. So, and then there's one more that I want to mention. I thought I had one to share with you guys, but apparently I ate the last one, so I don't have any. But I also love like That's It bars that are literally just made of fruit, and then also Kind Bars has a version of them. Kind Bars in general are pretty good snacks overall. I just typically don't eat them that much. I just don't really like love them enough to eat them, although Matt really likes them. However, I do love Kind has, it's like their pressed fruit bars, and they're basically the same thing as That's It bars. That's It bars are always just like 2 fruits. It's like apple and mango or something like that, and that's it. Those are the only 2 ingredients. So kind of like Lar Bars for a package on the go thing that you can grab. They're amazing. However, they are just fruit though. So they are, out of all of the snacks that I've shared, they are going to be the least filling because they are just straight carbohydrate. They are going to have, of course, a little bit of fiber because fruit contains fiber, which is good as far as helping, you know, kind of blunt that blood sugar rise that we will get from eating the, you know, dried fruit bar. So these are definitely going to be the least filling out of everything that I mentioned, but sometimes that's what you need, or what, you know, all you really want is just a little something to tie you over, and that is definitely a good option. I actually prefer the Kind pressed fruit bars because they have one that has chia seeds in it, and I love that because the chia seeds, again, they add a little bit of fat and protein to kind of balance it out, make it slightly more filling, and also just kind of help, again, blunt that blood sugar rise that you're gonna get from eating that fruit bar. Okay, I feel like I could probably go on for like another hour about snacks because I love food in general, but especially snacks. But those are definitely all of the snacks that I have been reaching for, you know, very recently, and all the things that I've just been loving and are pretty much like my go-tos at this point in time. Also, all those snacks are pretty easy to take on the go or pack into lunch to go to work with you. Pretty much all of those, except for maybe the exception of avocado toast. I used to bring to work with me all the time when I would pack a lunch, but you could even make avocado toast, you know, work at work potentially, but maybe instead of the toast, do like crackers with the avocado or something like that with like a little bit of red pepper flakes or that seasoning that Trader Joe's one you could just keep at your desk, something like that. I'm sure you guys can figure it out, but I wanted to make sure that I was sharing ones that I know were easy to kind of take on the go, and they weren't something that like required a kitchen every time you wanted to eat them. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of inspiration, because sometimes, you know, we just get stuck in ruts with food, especially if we have to like pack food to go to work and stuff like that. We can really easily just like pack the same thing over and over, and it just kind of gets boring. And sometimes it's nice just to get some fresh new ideas to just shake things up, and it just kind of puts the joy back in eating again. Although, to be fair, I'm like always happy to eat, so there's always joy surrounding food, but sometimes, you know, you get stuck in a rut and it's not quite as joyous. But that is it for this video, guys. Thank you again so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss any of my upcoming videos, and would also love to have you follow me on Instagram as well so we can hang out on there. But that is all for today. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.